Good morning and welcome to another ramble. Today we're going to be covering a really fun Reddit post that I saw last night, and I honestly haven't taken that big of a look at it. I just kind of saw a few of the things. So it's called "What OSRS opinion do you have that would result in this?" There's a fat negative 668K downvote on the picture. So for those listening over on Spotify, thank you guys for listening. It is a full video episode as well, but I know a lot of you guys just like putting your little headphones in and going to work or whatever else you guys are doing with the ramble audio in your ear. So thank you all. So many people have migrated over to Spotify. I really appreciate it. So if you guys haven't already and you guys want to support the show completely free, down in the description and pinned in the comments, you can go check out the show over there. Give it a little rating if you want. All right, so let's get into this. I really have not taken that big of a look, but I always love covering these things because, you know, I may have an opinion or two that would maybe result negatively. But it's just, I don't know, it's cool picking kind of the brain of the community and just figuring out what they honestly think. It's just cool. So I'm excited. Let's get into this. If you want the real answers, make sure you sort by controversial. I don't think we're going to start with that. Maybe I am concerned just because immediately the next thing I did pull this open earlier and I'm like, we're not going down that route. We're not going down the route of controversial and it's just a bunch of bigotry. So, but who knows? Maybe there's some other like actual stuff in there, actual substance. Well, I'm worried. That's all I'm saying. I haven't sorted by controversial yet, so maybe it's not that bad. We'll see. I enjoyed playing OSRs today. That's a negative. No, it's not a negative. It's just like, yeah, I feel like there's not really much to say on this other than there are some people that truly play this game and aren't playing it. I kind of fell into that a little bit. I can kind of like see there's so much resentment for certain parts of the game and you're playing fucking 12 hours a day and you're just like, you know what? You got to take a step back and enjoy the flowers and the sunshine in this game. I think it's good. I think it's good to enjoy the game, you know? Dangerous random events should be added back with a hearty welcome. See, it's one of those things where the only reason, I don't know, dying when you're AFKing something, that is not a good thing to add. Bots are going to completely bypass it. This isn't going to kill any bots. The bots are going to be the only ones that are actually evading it because they're going to just have a script that tells them when they get a dangerous random event. So this is only going to kill real players when they're at work trying to AFK some shit. Like, that really is negative. So, I mean, I like this because that actually means like he's doing a good job. This is exactly the kind of thing that I would downvote. Like, so good job, I guess. This is great. I would not like this. Does anybody actually want dangerous events? Dangerous events could only work in something like a hardcore main man mode. I thought that was genius. That would be kind of cool because then you really are just not allowed to AFK and you just watch people die to these dangerous random events. But you also have to remember, dangerous random events would kind of suck in a way if you like DC'd. So anyway, just something to consider. I don't even know what this is. What? 10 years ago, it would have been suggested for clues to be stackable. Now it would be to suggest that clues shouldn't be stackable. How times have changed. This is wild. I do want to give a little bit of like pushback, I guess, because when I started playing back in 2015, I feel like it was just a few months later they came out with clues from Implings. And clues from Implings were basically stackable clues for main accounts. I was playing a main account at the time, and just knowing I could go to the Grand Exchange and just buy as many Implings as I wanted just felt odd. So it wasn't like we just randomly got like stackable clues with the juggling. To be fair, we still don't actually have implemented stackable clues, but there's just been so many conveniences to it. And it's really on Jagex to like hold the ground on certain things because they know that when they start giving real nice conveniences, we're just going to fucking love it. We're not going to want to go back. So anyway, that's a whole separate discussion to see, like, to know if what they're doing with clues is like ultimately really good for the game or bad for the game. But I think I lean on good for the game just because it is good to listen to the community. Just don't listen to the community when it's, well, I don't know. It's so hard because you want to listen to the community for most things. I'm thinking of things where it would be bad to listen to the community. Like, let's have a new rune crafting method that's 500k XP an hour. I don't actually think people would actually vote yes to that, to be fair. But who knows? It'd be kind of concerning. So sometimes you can't give it all the ground over to the player base, I feel like. But who knows? But yeah, it is definitely warped. I think it was really easy to just say, yeah, like we don't want stackable clues, but I think there were some people that were like, I kind of want them, but I can't admit it because it's kind of unpopular too. But maybe, yeah, a lot of people actually held that view. That'd have been interesting. Slayer wouldn't pass a poll today. Would any skill pass a poll today? Like, let's be honest. I mean, they'd probably pass a poll, but then there'd be this whole, I feel like this is what I think. I think if you were to present any new skill, like if there wasn't a fire making in the game, well, fire making is a really bad example because yeah, nobody would want that. Let's just say like rune crafting. The concept of rune crafting is brilliant. It's like, whoa, you get to craft your own runes. There's these mysterious runes. I'm just imagining like a blog post playing old school that never had a rune crafting. We never knew what that meant. And then all of a sudden we're like, holy fuck, rune craft. We can craft our own runes. This is going to be amazing. All we could get them from before was just bosses and shops. And now we can just craft them ourselves. And then, so there'd be a lot of hype and excitement. There'd also be people in the no skills added regardless camp. And then as soon as we actually start seeing the detailed blogs, we would get so depressed. Like, look, we added these fucking random mysterious altars hella far away from every bank known to mankind, and have fucking fun crafting with these shitty pouches that degrade over time. And oh my god, and if they were to have added rune crafting with all the nuisances that they kind of cleared out with Guardians of the Rift release, something like the delay after crafting. I was watching back. It was literally just like that Sae Bae cast JMod compilation that I just uploaded. There was footage of me crafting Wrath runes when I was talking to Mod Husky. And you can see I have 4 fucking pouches. There was no colossal pouch at the time. And every time I get to the Wrath altar, I have to like literally wait there for fucking 4 ticks every time I craft. It's so aggressive, so bad. Anyway, so that's kind of like one of those things where like you can literally go into any skill, and yeah, there could be some hype and just about the name and the idea of the concept, and then you actually start digging into the details, and it's like, fucking hell, dude, nobody wants this. What are you talking about? So yeah, interesting. Do I actually think it wouldn't pass a poll today? I actually think Slayer would pass a poll today. I think it would. Just because I think what would happen, if we had a game that didn't have Slayer, you would see so many people gathered into one fucking spot training all the time. That's just how it would work. There would always be the meta training spot. And now with Slayer, it really just disperses people. I think people would actually kind of be into that. The player base is AIDS. Holy moly, go outside or call your mom, for fuck's sake. What the fuck? Damn. I mean, maybe part of the player base, but come on, man. Gold buyers should be perma-banned. They're the main reason bots exist. And while some think this isn't such a controversial opinion, there's so many people defending not banning gold buyers. It's insane. Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, hard to know where to start, because how is anybody going to know exactly if you're buying gold? I mean, I know there's probably really clear examples where you're buying gold, but like I feel like there's a lot of ways to get around it, and I don't know, it almost just feels like inevitable. It should be bannable, obviously. I'm on the camp of, yeah, ban all gold buyers and sellers, because I fucking hate botting. Anything that can get rid of botting, I'm a huge fan of. So yeah, it's Yeah, I don't know. Is that a there definitely are people that defend it because there's a lot of people that just want to play the game and they don't see integrity being that big of a deal, which, you know, I can kind of not respect, but I understand. Like, I understand the players that truly just play this game 5 hours a week. They've never given that much of a fuck whether the game is, you know, on the decline or the you know, upward trend or incline. Yeah, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. But, like, they don't really care about the game's health. They're just playing a fucking game. They don't care about the company. They don't care about the devs. They don't care about the fucking overall player. They're just having a good time. I mean, that would be me in, like, basically every other game. If I was playing, like, literally any other game and very casually, I don't fucking care. Like, who cares about your integrity? But when you are a player like me that does it for a job, and I put in, you know, easily over 20,000 hours into this account, and I love it when the game feels alive and it feels like I'm not just encountering a bunch of bots everywhere and I can't even talk to people, and the MMO just feels empty and, like, soulless. It's like, yeah, I care about integrity because I want this game to fucking feel like it's thriving, and, like, and balance means a lot to me. And so botting has always just irritated me, and yeah, like, kind of just doing things that are going to increase botting, I'm just not a fan of. But I kind of get why people wouldn't care, because they just want to buy their gold. They just want to buy their gold and go to fucking have their Tebow on their account so they can feel like a Giga Chad for a little bit and then log out later and just, you know, play very casually and then eventually just fucking, I don't know, sell their gold. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I play an Iron Man. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. The top level members of the community are more toxic to mid-game and low-level players than they've ever been. And the skill gap between learner and max main PVMer is wider than it's ever been. Well, that's true. I agree with the second point. More toxic? Here's the thing. Are they talking about PVMers or something? Almost, it's so weird how, like, over time it has felt like the HLC, whatever the fuck that even means, has, like, kind of transitioned from skiller to PVMer. It feels like when people say HLC now, a lot of the time, even in my own head, I'm thinking you're imagining somebody that runs Tob and Inferno a lot. Like, those are like the HLC, you know, the people that are like gaming. Back in the day, HLC was like skillers that were going for like 200 mil all and shit. That's what it seemed to me. It was like the skillers. And I think it was easier to be that because there just wasn't that difficult or inspirational enough PVM challenges. But it was fucking toxic 10 years ago. It was fucking toxic. You had some of the worst fucking people that were skillers that were just out of control. And we were all younger as well, so people, like, lacked so much empathy back then. I feel like these days, the only real toxic people, at least that I've kind of encountered, it's almost like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit jaded on this because I've been, like, in the higher level kind of thing. But I honestly, I know I need to, like, see some data, but I feel like it was way, way, way worse 10 years ago. Way worse than now. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody give some examples down in the comments and maybe I can, like, change my mind. Let's see what this guy says. I agree, but this is the case not just for OSRs, in my opinion. Aside from that, the most toxic part of OSRs is right here on this subreddit. Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's open this. There are other games I play where the skill ceiling is way higher and I've been left in the dust there. OSRs has a wide skill range, but I'd say the skill ceiling is pretty capped. There are only so many things you can do in 0.6 seconds. Once you learn them, there's not a lot of room for improvement like there's in other games. This guy's clueless. There is so much fucking room to improve in this game. It's actually out of control. This opinion sounds like knows enough about something to think they know everything, but not enough to know that they actually don't know hardly anything to your own knowledge. Yeah, honestly, I'm sorry. Like, this is obviously a little bit better of a response than, like, how my brother sees. My older brother still sees RuneScape as, like, super, super simple. Like, you click a cow. Like, he played for, like, 2 years as a child, and he still thinks OSRS is just click this object, click a cow, pick up loot, like just that simple. And I feel like if you haven't really experienced, literally, I mean, just fucking go try literally any piece of content that's gonna push just Inferno. Try a solo top. Like, I've never fucking done a solo top. I couldn't do that. I would need to practice like so much. If I want to get Radiant Oathplate one day, it's like I've only grinded like Yama a little bit, but that shit's way harder than just doing a fucking Hydra task or something. It's just, it's 0.6 seconds. I know I'm just speaking. You guys all know. You all disagree with this ultimately. I think my audience is, you guys definitely lean on like playing a lot. I feel like my audience is definitely a lot more like, I feel like I'm just missing words right now. My brain is not functioning right now. You guys play a lot more than I would say the average casual audience of other people's YouTube channels. I feel like my YouTube channel grew initially from just like high level skilling, hour-long videos and random boss guides and shit like that. So I don't know. I feel like you guys all agree with what I'm saying right now. Yeah. If you disagree, let me know. Red X is a bug, not a feature. This is always, it's this and the people. And again, I actually understand these positions. I do understand these positions. Red X, not so much, but I was going to say something that reminds me of like the Red X is a bug is the people that say, I don't want tick manipulation in this game. I want it to be an even playing field across the board where everybody has to AFK. Like everybody is forced to gain the same XP rates. I kind of understand it because I remember almost feeling that way. It's really hard for me to remember why I felt this way. But I do remember when I first started playing the game, feeling like the game would be cooler if everybody was at a very level playing field when it came to skilling and other things like that, where it's just time in, time out, you know, whatever you put into the game, you get out. And there was no real way to like extract more and more and more, squeeze it, you know? So anyway, I know this guy's not saying that, but I do feel like you would really start negatively impacting the game drastically by getting rid of tick manipulation, for example. One tick prayer flicking, that's a great one. That's actually probably relates more to this because it is PVM related. Red X, one tick flicking prayers and stuff. Like, there are genuinely people out there that want prayer to mean something. This is an understandable response to say we should get rid of prayer flicking. We should get rid of the way to have infinite prayer by sweating and clicking a bunch. I can get it. I can understand that, but I also completely disagree that we should ever go down that route. This game is infinitely more interesting and has so much higher of a skill ceiling allowing these kinds of things. Even though, yeah, if you were to just introduce it, it would be extremely imbalanced. I think there would be a lot of like problems with it. It's just one of those things where it's like charming, it's imbalanced, but it's offering so much when it comes to skill, expression, and just how far you can push the bounds of PVM that we should never touch, even if there are some negatives. Like, the some negatives is people can get around things without buying supplies because they don't need the food and they don't need the prayer pots and they don't need the everything else because they're just going to, you know, click on their thing because they've learned how to do it. So it's definitely important to keep these kinds of things around. And yeah, the game would be so much worse. I mean, you guys hear me ranting all the time about adding skill expression to skilling. Skilling, when you get rid of any element of possible skill expression, such as Giant's Foundry, for example. Giant's Foundry is an update that came out. It's one of the latest skilling mini games they've come out with. And there's genuinely almost zero way to try to squeeze the XP as much as you can to like extract, you know, to be micro efficient on things. It's so fucking basic, and anytime you try to do anything else, it punishes you for it. You have to be at the station. You can't do anything. And it's just so bare boned, and there's no possible way to express yourself and try to be micro efficient in certain things. There's just none of that. And it's boring and it's icky. It's just like, you can't do anything with it. It's so fucking boring. And for those people, like, there's a lot of people that like Giant's Foundry because it almost feels like this is a projection on my part, but I almost feel like they find Giants Foundry like less anxiety inducing potentially because they don't feel like they need to sweat it because nobody else can. So they feel like they're at a more even playing field. Like, oh, okay, like there really is no way to do better at this mini game, so I don't even have to try. Fucking great for me, you know. I'm gonna be AFK in this at work, and I feel good. I don't have to like feel like, oh, well, I really should be 3-ticking this or whatever. I'm not saying to introduce like knife logging everything. I'm just saying it's way better when there is skill expression that can be had on things. And PVM is fucking thriving when it comes to that kind of stuff. And don't get rid of it. Do not start getting rid of these things that make it intricate and make it interesting. Ice Barrage's root time is way too fucking long for a spell that does damage and has most likely been the worst thing to happen to PvP in this game period. I actually agree with this. I do. I made a little chocolate protein shake this morning, a little peanut butter chocolate shake. It's healthy. We got the healthy stuff. I agree with this, and if you guys have followed my content for a decent amount, you guys know kind of how I feel about this. I don't feel like I'm allowed to share too often about my PvP takes because I'm not a PvPer. I'm a fucking Iron Man pilled player. I just play Iron Man. But I've done a lot of Wildy content in my day. A lot. I was the first Iron Man actually in the entire game to fully have like green logged the Wildy. And it was right before all the wilderness changes came into place. All pets, Eternal Glory, you know, Elder Chaos robes, all the uniques from everything. So I've spent a fair fucking amount of time. Rev weapons. I was the first player as well, first Iron Man player to get all 3 Rev weapons as well. I was in there. I was in the thick of it. I was doing a lot of stuff. So I do have a pretty good concept of wilderness and like fairness in a way, but I don't have it completely, and I haven't really involved myself in a lot of wilderness lately. I do have a Void Waker on the squat cam, but I haven't done. And I've also charged over 30,000 glories on this account. Can we just? I feel like this account. Yeah, I'm trying to get my Eternal Glory. This is the fucking. I think I've said this on cast. Like going dry on an Eternal Glory is one of the absolute worst things to go dry on because you gain no XP, you gain no loot, and it's just uncharging glories on repeat. It's so bad. Anyway, I'm rambling on. But Ice Barrage, I have stated, circling back, I have stated many times that, yeah, and there should be sort of maybe unfreeze potions. I always recommend the unfreeze potions in multi. I think multi is the best way to go about it because I feel like trying to change the meta in any way when it comes to like a 1v1 fight would just disrupt so much that people are used to. So there's a lot of PvPers that are like, fucking don't change anything. We like it how it is. Don't change it. When it comes to multi, though, I've always enjoyed the idea of like an unfreeze potion so that the cards aren't entirely stacked against the victim. You know what I mean? If you're in the Wilderness Slayer cave doing a lesser demon task, one guy runs up, TBs you. Now his fucking 4 boyfriends come over and start just railing on you. There's just nothing you can do. So the meta of the wilderness becomes fucking have your mouse just highlighting over the teleport you have and just basically be hyper vigilant the entire time and just leave. So there's absolutely no actual engagement. And the whole meta for the PKer is just to fucking catch that TB as soon as humanly possible. It's just so dull. It's so boring. And if you had something like an unfreeze spell, it would open up a little bit more potential for the prey to get away, you know? So let's just say you have one guy with freezes and he's just going to keep fucking, or maybe 2 guys even, and they freeze you. All of a sudden they switch to the range gear. Guess what? You have a fucking unfreeze pot in your inventory. You drink it, you're unfrozen, you start dashing again. And maybe it's a 4-dose potion. So, but as soon as you unfreeze yourself, they can refreeze you. So there is that kind of like, they have to be on the ball. They can't be just, okay, well, we got 15 seconds to go to town on him, ranging and meleeing him. They have to keep alert. And you could bring, and the cool thing is like these unfreeze potions would replace actual food drops or brews or whatever else. So you kind of have to figure out how many unfreeze pots do I want to bring. But what's cool about it is in a multi situation, if you brought like 3 unfreeze pots, you're going to repeatedly get frozen right as you unfreeze, but at least you have a fighting chance to get to the escape as quick as possible, because you're just going to drink it. As soon as you get frozen, you can drink it, run. Again, this is more of a multi situation where you don't want this, I don't know, PKers fucking love it. PKers are having the time of their fucking life because it's basically a 99.9% chance you're going to kill this guy. Of course it's fucking fun for them. Of course it's fucking fun. It's devastating and the worst gameplay known to fucking mankind when you're on the opposite receiving end. There's nothing you can do. You just fucking sit there for 15 seconds frozen. You got your fucking Earth sign mace. You're just doing your Slayer task. And these people are just perfectly geared to just annihilate you. It's fucking dog shit gameplay. Dog shit. Pure dog shit. It's horrible. And I'm just getting like riled up by like the fact that people... Like, if you want to add interesting stuff to the wilderness, you have to add balance. There's got to be some sort of balance. Like, there just has to be. Honestly, I've even thought of ideas such as, and so the unfreeze is one thing. I've even thought, just going back to this question, is like, what if freezes had an RNG element? So sometimes you catch a freeze that's 3 seconds. Sometimes you catch one that's 15 seconds. Sometimes, I don't know if that would actually be a good thing for the game, but it's something to maybe consider. Like, would that be good? Would it be good to not have it absolutely guaranteed to be a certain amount of time? And should it reduce if you're praying mage? What if it's just, I'm saying 15 seconds. I don't actually know what the duration is. Let's just say 15 seconds. But what if when you pray mage, it reduces it by 40%, just like the damage is reduced by, or I think it's reduced by 60%. I think you only take 40% of the damage when you're praying against something accurately. So what if that reduced the time as well? Something like that. But going back to balancing the wilderness, truly, you got to, what's kind of cool is you really don't have to do all these like crazy changes of like unfreeze pods and all this other stuff and allowing the prey to be able to get away in different ways, maybe like maneuvering around obstacles or jumping agility obstacles or anything like that. Really what it comes, that would be great and all, and that could be an addition, but honestly, I will make a video of this soon. We need the wilderness coffer idea. That solves basically fucking everything. It really does, because it allows all players to have an incentive to fight back to anti-PK, and it also completely nulls the annoyance of dying and having to like get your trover parchments back and re-gear and grab all the stuff, and now you've lost some other untradeable thing that you have to deal. It's like, no, with the wilderness coffer idea, as long as your coffer's filled, the killer gets the amount of GP, whatever that is, of the kill, whatever you were risking, and the player that died keeps all their stuff in their inventory. So they're just an extraction, and there would probably be an additional fee, like a 10% additional extraction from your coffer that's paying for your death. But when you die, it's just like, okay, well, I died, whatever. I'm just back with all my gear still on. I can just run back out, and it's just fun. It's just like, there's not that just pit in the bottom of your stomach as an Iron Man. If you're an Iron Man, you understand what I mean. When you lose something that you've spent 20 hours to get, or you were just out in the wilderness and it's so annoying losing valuable time. And I feel like with the wilderness coffer idea, we get to the spot where wilderness just becomes like more fun and snappy. It's like, you die, doesn't matter. You go back out there, you're having fun again. You kill somebody, they die, they're just instantly re-geared and they're good to go. I want to just paint like an example of what I mean by this. Like, imagine if like in Call of Duty or something, you kill somebody, and then when you die, you have to now spend like 3 fucking minutes going back to your bank, re-gearing all the things. Fuck, I forgot this potion, I forgot. No, in all these modern PvP games, it's you die and you're fucking back in the action immediately. There's no bullshit. There's none of that annoying, just awful feeling of having lost a bunch of time and a lot of maybe like items and shit. It's just like you're just back in the action having fun. And I think with the coffer, it still offers all of that risk, but in a way more like convenient way. I think maximum convenience in this game is the road we're headed down, and I think that's something we should actually lean into. So if you guys are curious, I've definitely talked about it on the cast and other things like that about this wilderness coffer idea, and it benefits all accounts. I'll go into more detail if you guys are curious. I'll probably make like a one-off video, just really going to town on it and actually bringing another voice on, somebody that is in the PvP scene, to either offer some pushback or to, you know, maybe just agree in some ways. I think it would be good to have somebody on that really is deep in the PvP scene, that has already heard the rundown from me privately, and then we can talk about it in an actual video discussion once he already knows the full concept. And so I'm not having to like make a video where I'm explaining the concept to him and struggling to do so, and then we're having some like confusion back and forth. I think it would be really good though to have maybe somebody like, I don't know, like West Ham or Dino or something to come on, maybe Pure Spam, just somebody that is in the know. Give them the rundown beforehand. It wouldn't be something where I'm like, I'm only going to have you on if you do agree with me entirely. But I really do feel like this is actually a healthy thing to go down. And I haven't heard much pushback other than a few things. Like, for example, some people just like that old school nature of all their items dropping to the fucking ground. But the thing is, we've already moved past that. We just have loot keys these days. But some people like opening a loot key and actually seeing gear. They don't just want to see a value. And I get that. I think that's the only real problem that we'd have in this, because some people just like actually seeing loot of what you got, not just the value of it. But the thing is, you could still kind of have that in a way. You could see what you killed, all the items that you did PK, but then it actually just instantly gets converted to a GP amount or something. I feel like it's just kind of like imagining opening clue scrolls or something and not actually seeing loot. You just see a value. For a main account, it's just like, oh, it's the same thing. I just don't have to go to the GE and sell it. But you lose that excitement of actually seeing the items you PK'd. Anyway, I'm going way too fucking long on this rant. Let me know if you guys are interested in that, though. I probably will make the video at some point, just because I want it to get out there. I want people to talk about it. You know, if people are completely against it, I want them to be against it for accurate reasons, not just what they imagine I'm thinking, but really understanding the argument, understanding the pros and the cons of it, and then making like an actual reasonable decision. So I'll probably make that video soon. The game is getting too much new content, and old content such as quest lines are being forgotten about. I think they're doing a pretty good job. I mean, we just had Summer Sweep Up, which, you know, it's not exactly what he's talking about. He's talking more about like quests and stuff. But I think they're doing a pretty good job of trying to go back into the game and fixing it up, making mid-game feel smoother. Early to mid-game has some great stepping stones now. There is a lot of new content coming out, but you have to keep in mind the devs have to cater to such a wide variety of accounts and player types. I mean, truly, you have a sizable chunk, not crazy, but a sizable chunk that really has been maxed for years, and they have completed all the content and they're just clogging, and they need to appeal to those players somehow, and the only way is like new content. But then you have a lot of other players that are nowhere near that echelon, and you have to cater to them, and they have to have new kind of mid-game content. Everybody wants new content. They do. I feel like I'm way more of a player that enjoys the rebalancing of things and trying to create new content with old content. For example, if you guys heard my Wilderness podcast appearance with Trey, we were talking about like some cool... One of the things I love is like hunter rumors, and I think it would be so cool to have like the crafting rumors, crafting contract type things. There could be like a downstairs to the crafting guild, and down there you'll get like a contract, and you got all your amenities down there. You got your loom, you got your clay oven, you got your fucking furnace, you got like everything down there. The spin wheel, or the spin wheel. What am I saying? Spin wheel? What? That doesn't sound right. What's the thing where you spin flax on that thing? Anyway, like you just have everything there, and you get assigned like, hey, these people from Relica want you to make them 100 baskets or something, but it'll have the rumor situation where you don't actually have to make 100. You'd have all the supplies there. You just go there, and then eventually you have to like send it off to those people in Relica, but it could finish early. You could just maybe craft 10 baskets, and then all of a sudden you craft the perfect one, and you go send it over there. I'm making this sound really boring because I mentioned the word basket. Like, who the fuck wants to weave baskets? But just sort of extra activities you can do with really basic sort of crafting. So you're still doing traditional crafting. That's what I like about hunter rumors, is you're doing traditional hunter, And they didn't have to completely revamp. Like, we have a new hunter thing where now there's just completely separate from all other hunter, the new meta that you're going to be doing. But no, they've actually integrated it as a whole. So you have contracts. That's also, farming contracts are really cool. Slayers, cool. I like those kinds of systems as long as they're done well. But, I really am just rambling on at this point. You guys like it though. These are all rambles. In my opinion, is getting too much combat related content, not enough skilling and new skills. New skill launches were some of the best parts of RuneScape back in RS Classic and RS2 days. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, obviously getting a new skill was cool back then because we were all kids and we didn't really care what it meant to the game. We weren't like super min-max sort of efficiency minded. New skills dropping with hardly any notice was so much fun. I get people's resistance on pulled content and worry about becoming RS3 again, but surprise content was one of the most fun things about RS. I agree with that. This is not the skills, but like surprise content. I even have offered this to JMods when I've had them on the cast. I'm like, I love the community driven aspect of this game, but what we should do is run a poll that says, should we make an update that is unpulled? So you would vote yes or no to a poll question that says, can we make an update that is a complete surprise? Like, would you allow us to do one update of significant, something that's not just a baby little like frog quest or something, but something that's significant, maybe a mid-game boss or something that is completely unpulled, complete surprise, and we would vote yes or no to that. And then Jagex would have absolute free reign to make something and surprise the fuck out of all of us. Just boom. Now we got a brand new thing. We had no idea. We don't even know where it is. They haven't teased it like hardly at all. It's just in the game one morning. That would be so cool. And I think so many people would vote yes to that. So I don't know. I think that would be awesome to just, again, run the poll first to see if the community's interested in that. And then give the devs just absolute, just free reign to just, make whatever they want. A large percentage of the player base does not actually like the game. They just want to feel like they are accomplishing something and want it to be as easy as possible. If you lock them in a large untextured room where you just pull a lever for a chance of getting clog XP drops at a faster rate than normal, they would enjoy it more than they do the current game. I mean, maybe some people. I doubt that's the majority of people. But yeah, I don't know. It is funny. I was talking to one of my friends. I've been uncharging these glories and then recharging them, and I'm like, who in their right mind would spend 30 plus real life hours clicking like fucking glories to teleport with them and then run and charge them and then run back and repeat for like 30 plus hours? And this would probably take me even longer. I'm going to go really dry. I can feel it. But like, there's literally no game really where that sounds fun. Like, anybody that would be watching me doing this for hours on end would be like, you need help. You need professional fucking help, which I actually do. But they would tell me that, so it is interesting kind of how this game is built. It really is just number go up and pull the slot machine, but it's fun and it's cool flexing your achievements and stuff. This game would be nowhere near as fun had it not been an MMO. Warding was named wrong, but otherwise was a really good skill that was fitting for old school. We have smithing for melee armor, crafting for ranged armor, fletching for ranged ammo, and rune crafting for mage ammo. But there's no skill for mage crafting, a gap that warding sought to fill. It is true, but back when warding was being proposed, I just had suggested warding didn't need to be added to the game because what mage robes could have been is simply you craft it and then you enchant it with magic. So you craft it with the crafting skill and you enchant it with magic. There didn't need to be that like middle ground because ultimately all you're doing is just making like fabric and then enchanting it somehow at these little stations. That was my take on it. I mean, I wasn't completely against warding. I just felt like it was not. I don't know. That wouldn't have been good in the time period. We were way earlier on. What was that? 2019? Was that 2019? When was that? When was warding being pulled? Was that 2019 or something? Or 2020? 2020, 2019, something like that. Yeah, crazy. I think it's unfortunate that it seems like no one will ever vote in another simple skill, and that new skills from here on need to be wildly technical with new mechanics and complex interfaces. High sailing, which I don't find very old school at all. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how that kind of works. They're right. It's, I don't know. I mean, one of the very simple skills, again, you actually have to add that complexity to skills nowadays, or else it's just not going to be interesting enough. And then people are just going to be like, why the fuck are we doing this? Which I get as well. But, one of the skills was like a speech skill. So it's basically like a ring of Charos or Karos, however you pronounce that ring, in a full skill. So this skill can be trained to level 99, and basically the whole design, like what the devs would need to do is basically go into like all dialogue and add more of a choose your own adventure type dialogue going on. And this legend is being really really kind. Look at that. Shout out Sleepy Kitty. But yeah, like I'm not saying we need a speech skill, but it's just one of those very simple ideas where people would be like, why the fuck are we doing this? This is so boring. There's not a bunch that's added to it, other than imagine you trained your speech skill to like 90, and then when you do one small favor quest, you actually can just full on skip it, like basically, because you can basically communicate with NPCs around this game in a more this guy's asking me if I'm streaming. I'm rambling. You could just there'd be like different paths with quests, for example, different like ways to skip over certain things, and I feel like questing could be more interesting with a speech skill. But on top of that, with a speech skill, you could also get lower prices at shops, for example, slightly lower. You could get higher quantity stocks at shops, if that's something that people are interested in. And then even on top of that, like basically any NPC that you're working with, you would just get these nice little advantages. And how you train speech is simply just going through dialogue options with like NPCs, and maybe there'd be more quest storylines where you take certain routes and you just get additional speech XP. So your guy is just becoming like a master at like getting your way, kind of. You know what I mean? So I think that would be a really interesting skill. I also think that old school RuneScape is one of the perfect skills for it, or perfect games for it, because there is just so much charm and just interesting dialogue in this game that's just like really funny. And I think it would be a really hard skill to design, I think, just kind of balancing around it. But it would just be really interesting to see. I don't know. I mean, it could even get involved in like pickpocketing. I mean, you could get to the point where like your speech is so good that when somebody is about to stun you, you're like, whoa, like hold on, or, just like talk them out of like stunning you or something. Just little elements in this game that would just get little perks from having a higher speech level. I don't know how exactly you would train it, actively or something. Maybe it's just going around and talking to different NPCs and just building up a sort of. I don't even know. I'm actually just rambling at this point, but it's a simple skill. I'm just going back to like the warding. Like warding was simple. Speech would be kind of a simple. It would obviously have a lot of dev time involved in it, but it's just very simple. It's just that's what it is. Something like shamanism. I think shamanism actually would have beat out sailing had it not been for the name. The name shamanism, such a mouthful. If it had just been called something like mystic or spirit or voodoo or something like that, that would have been way cooler. Yes, maybe it wouldn't have fit quite as nicely as shamanism with how the skill is actually built. But if you had called the skill voodoo, people would be like, that's cool. I like that. Yeah. So the name was definitely a problem. Quality of life additions such as having bank inventory loadouts would actually be healthy for the game. Yeah. See, this is kind of going back to, I talked about this with, who was I talking about this with? Who did I just have on the cast? Oh God. King Mabry. It was King Mabry. We were talking about bank loadouts. There is definitely something that's lost in that. I still love the discussion. I feel like I'm pretty indifferent. I'm pretty neutral stanced right now on the idea of having bank loadouts where it's literally just click And you got everything. Boom, you got your inventory filled, you got your gear filled, you're out doing your content. And circling back very briefly to the wilderness coffer idea, it's very similar where people want the quality of life. People want the convenience. And when you add something that maximizes convenience, wilderness based, something like, because you wouldn't even need a loadout. Basically, whenever you die in the wilderness, as long as your coffer's filled and paying the cost, you're still in your full gear, have your full inventory, and you're good to go. Whatever the hell you wanted to do, whatever you were just doing, you're good to go. You just paid out of a coffer. It's the perfect sort of convenience. It's just boom, it's paid for. You're good. So yeah, I kind of like that. The bank and inventory loadouts I think are cool. I think there would definitely need to be a fee to it. So something like, yeah, you can have a loadout or maybe up to 5 or something, and maybe you could expand to up to 10. Because to be fair, if you play this game a lot and you're at like the end game, you have so many bank tag layouts these days. Like on Sae Bae, I easily had like 40 plus. And they all have different loadouts. They all have a different, my inventory needed to be in a particular way. My gear was always kind of changing. So I think one of the cool things about bank and inventory loadouts is it doesn't completely nullify your kind of creativity. It actually kind of enhances it in some way where you are now going to be very nitpicky on creating the perfect loadout. I think that can be kind of fun. Let's just imagine every player was given like 5 different loadouts for whatever they want. And you are now just completely figuring it out exactly how you want it. And now you're locked and loaded. But if you start doing more than 5 pieces of content, you'll have to switch them out or whatever else. And I think there is something interesting about making your own bank tag layouts and other things like that. So, but King Mabry did have some good pushback. I can't remember exactly what his points were, but there were things that could be kind of bad. There's definitely some cons to adding things like this where everything becomes very convenient, like too convenient, where you're barely playing the game anymore because you just one click, we're good. One click, we're good. So anyway, prayer flicking is artificial difficulty and shouldn't be a thing. I was not actually expecting that to see this, but yeah, see, and I never know whether the upvotes are meaning, well, yeah, that's a fucking horrible opinion and you're going to get downvoted to hell. But yeah, let's see. I flicked everywhere and I agree. If it was removed for everyone, I wouldn't care. Knowing it's there and not using it felt awful. That's exactly the point I was getting to earlier on. You see what I mean? People like feeling like they're playing a fair game. They don't like feeling like they're being inefficient. So again, just circling back just very briefly to like Giants Foundry. Giants Foundry probably appeals to so many players because there really is no way of squeezing extra XP out of it. It's just you're forced to do it this way. There's no getting around it. And there are players that don't want to prayer flick at all, and they selfishly would like it if nobody else did either, because now nobody has an advantage over them, and they don't have that lingering feeling of not doing it efficiently. Prayer flicking and changing prayers are 2 entirely different things. One is required, and the other isn't at all. Prayer flicking is required for some achievements, right? CA is like 5 caves, not losing 1 prayer point. Yeah. Thing is, that's not really prayer flicking. I mean, it's simply just understanding the tick thing. I mean, you can do that 1 prayer point fight cave just by understanding, ticks and just turning on your prayer for that 1 tick where things are attacking you. So it's not like you have to. I feel like sometimes I hear prayer flicking and I think of 1 tick flicking. Like that's what prayer flicking is for a lot of people, where it's like you have your quick prayer set up and that's what you're flicking. By the way, can I just bring this up? There was a time. I need to hide my camera really quick. There was a time where quick prayers didn't exist. So if you ever wanted a prayer flick, it was way more difficult. Like if you actually wanted to 1 tick flick 3 different prayers, let's just say you had like Steel Skin on, Protect from Melee, and Deadeye or something, and you wanted all those going at once, you'd have to manually click on every individual one all the time. It was basically impossible. Quick prayers are one of the most busted updates in this game, believe it or not, because you're able to just turn on whatever you want and, it's just like you're good. So honestly, in a way, if we were to bring back, or if we were to remove the quick prayer orb, which would be a horrible thing for the game, ultimately, it is really broken, but it's healthy for the game. You'd have to, You couldn't just do a Slayer task where you have both your overhead and your offensive prayer going at once. You'd have to kind of pick and choose. You could still do it, but it's going to be way more effort than just holding your mouse on one button and clicking twice every 0.6 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, that would almost make people feel less bad about not prayer flicking, because it would just increase the amount of effort required drastically doing something like that. So when you start removing things that are difficult because of timings of ticks, you end up with a different MMORPG. It's true. Totally true. I don't mind his existence, but building content around it is pretty lame. It definitely should be a player skill expression for extending trips, not an expectation to complete content achievements. Thing is, it really already is that. We have prayer enhanced potions now, or whatever, like prayer regeneration potions. Those things act as like, isn't it like literally twice the amount of a prayer pot? I think it's like even more than that. So it's like you're already getting these. I don't feel like in any piece of content these days it's ever required to. It's all about extending trips at this point. It's not an expectation these days. Unless, again, you're doing a Grandmaster CA that requires you to understand what ticks are, which I think is totally appropriate. Fire making is a useless skill and should be combined with wood cutting into a combined skill called forestry. Ew, no, I don't like the name of that. No. It is true, though. Fire making really could be combined with wood cutting. It shouldn't now, because that would be weird. But yeah, initially, if it had been that way, that would have been better, in my opinion. I enjoyed the DT2 rings drop mechanics and not knowing. Tick manipulation methods shouldn't exist. It's not any more engaging to click a bunch of extra times to get more XP, and it gets into the way of adding actually engaging methods like Sepulcher. God forbid there's some method that rivals 2-tick teaks, because we have to let the sweats feel proud of themselves. This goes for prayer flicking too. It was never intended to have virtually infinite prayer. It should have been fixed years ago. It's too far gone. Yeah. So I disagree with that first part, but I do agree with this part. I agree with his reasoning. I do think tick manipulation should exist, but should be massively streamlined. Because the beauty of tick manipulation, I've said this ad nauseum, is the rhythm and the flow you get. It's not the amount of clicks you're doing every fucking second. You clicking 7 times in a second is adding absolutely nothing to this. It's just, what is beautiful about tick manipulation is the satisfaction of predictable resource extraction, knowing that when you click something, you're about to receive it. It's like the timing, the ticks, the flow of it, the getting into the rhythm. And that's what's fun. People that have done very simple sort of tick manipulation methods like 2-tick teaks, where it's just clicking a tree, back on the ground, click a tree, back on the ground, or drop a log. It's like, that has just a very simple rhythm to it, and you can get hooked. And it's fun because you're seeing these XP drops just every time you click. You're just expecting an XP drop. It feels good. But what wouldn't feel good is doing 2-tick teaks, but now every time you click a tree, you got a knife log tree. It's just like, fucking hell. Get rid of that bullshit. Get rid of the unnecessary amount of clicks. By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen, I was going to make a little video on it. The horn, the Yama horn that came out, it actually allows you to tick manipulate. It's basically like, people are calling it the gnome horn, or the horn cube, or whatever the hell they're calling it. And it's great. It's a great addition. Apparently you can't maintain a 3-tick cycle on it, but every other cycle you can go back to a 3-tick cycle, because it, like, I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't actually used the horn in game because I don't have it on Sae Bae, and I don't have a main account with it. But it's just brilliant. It's just I see these high-level skillers using it, and they like it. Will they admit they like it? I don't know. But I know people enjoy this kind of emergent gameplay that happens, and it's reducing a click. It's just cool. It's fun. Almost everybody I see on Twitter talking about it is like, this is kind of fucking cool. I like this. It's exactly what Gnome Cube is. It's removing these annoyances. It's not the end game. The end game is not just Gnome Cube solves everything. It's getting to a point where we start understanding that skilling and tick manipulation doesn't need to be wrist breaking. It doesn't need to be agonizing to do for long periods of time. It can actually be fun, and we can focus in on that fun, lean into the fun and the engagement and the rhythm of it. I always bring up PVM. PVM has become so good. Look at Dono Fly, Yama Dono Fly. Imagine when you're running Dono Fly, you had a knife log every time you attack the boss. That would fucking destroy the method. It'd be so awful. It'd be awful to have to knife log in this beautiful rhythmic pattern that you're doing. No, it's simplistic. It's fun as hell. It still has skill expression, and you're not breaking your wrist doing it. It's just fucking emergent gameplay that's fun and rhythmic and has good flow to it. Please, can we do that with skilling? God, please, can we do that? There's so much room. There's just this massive space that has been untouched with skilling, and all it needs to focus on is rhythm and emergent gameplay and good cycles. I mean, literally, the reason Dono Fly works is because we have brilliant devs that are designing PVM that has rhythmic. It has a rhythmic like structure to it. Like these little crisscross flames that are going down are on a cycle. It's like that is how you should design things. Ohm is the same way. Solo Ohm, it's on a cycle, and it allows these emergent cool patterns to go where you can now do 4-1 and 4-0 and other things like that. We need that in skilling to some capacity. It's going to take some reimagination. It's going to take a dev to take a fucking fistful of mushrooms and reimagine what skilling can be. But we need to get to that point, in my opinion. And when you get to that point where there's so much skill expression in skilling, you can actually allow skilling to be profitable, because there is like, it's actually fun to grind. Like, it would be genuinely fun. There would be skill expression. People could not just learn the method within 5 minutes of the release of it and be like, okay, well, there's nothing else to learn now, so I'm just going to keep doing this. With PVM, it's like you're constantly building on how much more efficient can we make it? How much more time can we save with this boss? What are some new metas we can do? With skilling, you don't even have gear. I mean, that's a separate discussion to come out with new tools, new gear to skilling. I think can be a little bit like, maybe we shouldn't go down that route, which I could agree with to some extent. I'd need to hear the pros and the cons. But imagine there was actually maybe some gear switching and skilling, and maybe whatever else you're doing, and movement and ways to, like, I've always wanted spec weapons and skilling. I think I really am just rambling on this, like thinking of old ideas that I've already shared. And for those that listen to my content a lot, you guys know I've talked about these kinds of things. The Dragon Axe special boosts your fucking level by 3. Imagine Dragon Claws. All Dragon Claws ever did was just boosted your strength by 3. It's just, what the fuck is this? This is so boring. Imagine you had these new axes that come out, and even if you didn't add any more axes, imagine just the Dragon Axe now didn't boost your level by 3, but it did a fucking like swirl attack and just annihilated the tree you're hacking at. And it wouldn't be something you can manipulate by going to like the Narda altar and just repeatedly specking again. It would have the Soul Reaper axe thing where you have to use it for a decent amount of time for it to build up charges that you unleash again. If you were to come out with some really cool skilling method that had tools that had really fancy and just addicting, satisfying special attacks to it, oh my God, like we'd be having a great time skilling. That's all I'm saying. It's really hard for me to like, I almost want to like just give my vision of things. I have aphantasia, so I can't actually imagine things in my mind's eye. It's fucking horrible. But I do have like these abstract like concepts, and I wish I could like just like beam them into other people's brains to just see how like cool skilling can be. Anyway, I'm getting like passionate right now. Can you guys tell? I don't know if you guys can tell. Old school PKing was way better than the constant gear switching and ticketing. That's just the nature of min-maxing stuff. It just is. It's just, yeah, there's no going back. There's really just no going back. It's just the thing. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Endgame's too fucking hard. I mean, yeah, it is interesting. You know, we want the aspiration. This is why I've enjoyed, I don't know, I feel like most things are pretty grounded. Nothing's too difficult. They've done a good job. You know, Blorva is a pretty hard thing to go for, I think, for most players. Radiant Oathblade looks very difficult as well. So there are these really hard things, but at least we haven't gotten to the point, well, I don't know. And Endgame is pretty hard. I think it's good to have hard content. I just don't think it's good to constantly have hard, like super, super hard content. I had like a YouTube short that was talking about people when Yama released, like a few days in, people are like, Yama's too easy. Like, fucking make it harder. Make Yama harder. Like, we don't need to make things harder. You can make things harder for yourself to be more efficient with things. That's what I like. I like the idea of having like a base of something. Like Yama is not super difficult. You can learn it pretty quickly, and then it's just fun. They focus on the fun of it. It's just fun and soothing, and the more you do it, it's just like brain off. You're going through the motions. It's great. But if you are that psychopath that wants to just push the limits and go crazy, you can. You can do some crazy tech with it, and you can do the contracts, and you can do whatever else to make it more fun or more difficult for yourself, you know? It's the same thing with Toa. Like Toa, like, yeah, you can be that masochistic freak that does 600s on 600 solos on repeat, you know? Like, do it, go for it. That's fucking awesome, and you're gonna benefit from it. But to imagine there was just a piece of content that came out that just was a 600 Toa. There's no lowering it. It's just that is what it is. This is not the route to go down. Absolutely not the route to go down with this game. This game needs to be fun, and with this game, there is just a certain cap where like you go beyond having fun and it just becomes like super annoying to do stuff. If you make things too difficult, it just becomes annoying. So that's my opinion. Every skill should have a pet. Yeah, I kind of like that actually. I do kind of like that. I like that idea. UIM is a refreshing and very fun way to play the game. It is incredibly freeing from things like analysis paralysis. Wow. Yeah, UIM is always in the back pocket for me. At some point, we could give it a shot, but there's just something about like death piling and all that other garbage. I just don't want to deal with, like, just added inconveniences everywhere. Ugh. DG was one of the best pieces of content. What is DG? Dungeoneering or something? Doesn't need to be. I think that's he's saying dungeoneering. I never played dungeoneering. PvP as a whole would be in a much healthier, less toxic place if we had never introduced all of the skilling PvM content to the wilderness. That is true. I don't think that it is unpopular, but I would like a rest system to recharge run energy, similar to what it was like back in the day. Yeah, I think that's totally cool to have. I'm not against that. One tick. Yeah, again, one tick flicking. Slayer is a garbage skill. This is such a shit game for a noob to get into. Summoning was that. Yeah, so we're kind of getting to the OSR doesn't need PvP to survive. I mean, that's definitely true, but it does. I think PvP is good for the game, but what we really need to do is when it comes to wilderness PKing, we truly need to go in there and add some rebalancing. We have to make it fair. We have to add some balance. Not fully fair, but there's got to be balance in it, and it's just not balanced in so many ways. It just isn't. And yeah, I mean, you really just so much predator versus prey. So much of it is that. It's so old. It's so fucking old. So anyway, sailing will ruin the game. Oh shit, sailing's biggest hater. Damn. So anyway, yeah, I think we've covered kind of the beef of this. Do I even click on controversial? I'm just really nervous. Let's see what it is. Yep, it's just all this. Oh, something about Pures. Pures deserve chivalry. Amen. Fucking men. Pures deserve love too, guys. We need to have empathy for the Pures out there. They're not asking for much, but they are part of the, part of the game, and we need to, see the game from their eyes. That's what I say. Dry protection is ass, and I say this as a guy who has a job. Whoa, this guy has a job. What the fuck on Reddit? Jagex should either significantly slow down updates or stop updating altogether. Okay, sailing will ruin the game. Is there anything else that's like crazy? Bosses need to do more damage or do damage through prayer. Prayer flicking trivializes content. Damn. Yeah, that's pretty unpopular. Anyway, so interesting stuff. I think I've just always like posts like, ooh, 92 fletching. You guys saw it right there. Look at that. I do always love these kinds of things. It gets the mind boggled, We're starting to think about how other people kind of perceive the game and, think about what could be good. I always think it is healthy to just imagine, I don't know, just like imagine new things that can come into this game. Like really try to reimagine how things could be better. That's something I love to do. I love that I'm in like a position where I can just talk about the game and you guys listen. It's just really cool position to be in. And just, I feel like I've always kind of more had like a creative mind toward this game. Like I want things to be a certain way, but we are playing a game that's so like set in its ways. It's definitely like loosening that grip of like the elitism we used to see way back in the day and the just purists that didn't want any change to the game. But we definitely are playing in a different era these days, and I think we need to expand our minds a little bit with what this game could become, with as well keeping balance and keeping integrity and keeping what feels old school. But yeah, thank you all for listening. I appreciate you all. Go check out the show on Spotify down in the description and pinned in the comments. As I said earlier, we're going to be having the RS guy on the Sae Bae cast tomorrow. Very, very excited for that. He is one of the biggest RS RuneScape 3 creators in the scene. And yeah, so it's going to be really cool. It's going to be cool kind of talking about what they've done with RS3 microtransactions and everything else. There's going to be a lot that we're going to be talking about. So go check that one out for sure tomorrow. I'll probably have it uploaded Tuesday maybe, but we're talking tomorrow evening. Yeah, and as I said, we're going to be having the group Hardcore Iron Man team with Mookie and Shays and Mutts and Veek and Lake. We're going to be having a little Sae Bae cast with them at some point. We haven't got it all scheduled. It's kind of hard scheduling with 5 different people, trying to figure out the date for that. But hopefully before they've actually started their group. So sometime in July, hopefully. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. You guys are lovely. Have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.